I'm already recording. What do you know?
There you go.
All right. Welcome to the Crypto Show here at Coin Agenda, Blockchain Week in Vegas, Money 2020, all that good stuff. And today, the Crypto Show interviews the Crypto Show. Kind of.
Yeah. Very meta.
There have been many members over the Crypto Show's 6-year span here. And one of them has been Doug Hodges, who we utilized our airtime in Phoenix to try to reach Republicans, basically, because Republicans ain't real smart. We got to teach them how to use Bitcoin too.
And we got a lot of them in Arizona, so
yeah, definitely. So it's a gun happy state there. And so just to kind of paint the picture for you, what Doug handles the Bitcoin meetups in Phoenix. He runs arguably the best managed machines in Phoenix, Tucson, and Flagstaff. And he's been an evangelist quite some time about Bitcoin, and it's been just the story. Like, to me, the thing that is so interesting is where you and Morpheus and Morpheus. I'm going to be doing an interview with him too, and we're going to get his side of the story. So it's the tale of two cities, or the tale of two Bitcoin dealers.
Yeah.
And so Doug took the legal route, and Morpheus, I think it's not that he did anything illegal. It's just that he played fast and loose, and he opened himself up to be entrapped by some scumbag government agents. Like, he didn't go out and say, "Hey, drug dealer, come here. Hey, I got a way you can clean your money up." No, they infiltrated the meetup groups and found the guy who would agree to, whatever, So, it was kind of like, I'm selling Bitcoin. Some guy shows up and he says, "Yeah, I'm a drug dealer and I'm just trying to get rid of my money." And like, his response is like, "Whatever, just don't tell me."
Yeah.
And that's what was in the court papers.
That's the kind of guy Morpheus was, man. He's a libertarian, and he's your business is your business. I don't care what you do. I don't need there's no victim here, and and whatever. We came up together as far as in the Bitcoin trading scene. Probably within months of each other, we started trading on local Bitcoins, and between he and I, we were, pretty much the most of the volume in the Phoenix area for local Bitcoin.
Well, at one point, he was probably, according to him, he was the highest. He was the biggest trader in the state.
Yeah, he was. So.
Yeah. You have since you've surpassed that, like, exponentially since then, but because you're able to have multiple personalities and be in 14 places at once, basically by having ATMs all over. So
So when from the compliance aspect, that was a soul searching decision for me. I mean, we're in the crypto space, right? So it's got this air about it of, like, hey, we're looking to opt out of the traditional banking system, and compliance is a bad word a lot of times. I looked at it as, I want to provide a service to the people that are able to use Bitcoin for whatever the heck they want to use it for. So in order for me to stay in that role and to choose that path, I needed to get compliant. I knew that was the only way for me to put my best possible service out there. It's a very needed, valuable service.
Like I said, we're going to be doing another interview with Morpheus, and I'll get his whole story from there. But when you're doing these Bitcoin ATMs, where is it? Obviously, when you were just a local Bitcoins dealer, you weren't getting some old lady from Sun City who has a boyfriend somewhere who convinced her to go and buy Bitcoin. That was not the person that you were meeting at the pizza joint to sell Bitcoin to. But now that you have an ATM that's out there on the street, these are the people that are being taken advantage of. And I know you do everything you can to stop that from happening. Tell me about some of the stuff that you have to run into.
It's a challenging task to to try to be diligent and stay on top of. The ugly truth is, there's new twists on old scams. Whether it's the IRS scams, go buy some gift cards, or the electric company, we're going to turn off your power if you don't send us iTunes gift cards, which, in the elderly are often the most vulnerable to these. And we try to head off and spot these as frequently as possible. I feel like we're doing just about as much or more than any other company. There's 2 on-screen prompts that mention scams and potential, what to look out for, and then a actual physical sign mounted mentioning some of the different scams. But what you're referring to, the most difficult for us to spot and detect and hopefully eventually try to help people or save them are what's known as the romance scams. And these people in foreign countries that strike up conversations with lonely women here in the U.S. and they tell them they're going to move here and make their life better. And
there was one in particular that the lady, the Mark, as we'll call her, thought that the guy was French.
Oh no! Yes, yeah. This was really sad. I mean, she called me, and I pretty much was able to smell it out right away that this lady's involved in a romance scam, and they're the hardest to convince. Hey, you're being scammed too, because now you're telling someone, you're questioning their judgment. And
the person that you love is lying to you.
Yeah, that's not an
Screw
easy.
you.
Yep, that's pretty much
like that's the quickest way to lose a friend is that to tell him that his girlfriend's cheating on him.
Yeah. So in this situation, she had the so-called air quotes fiance had called me ahead, and I detected that he was definitely one of these romance scammers. He said, my fiance is trying to use one of your ATMs, and I said, well, you're going to need to have her call me. Since you're not my direct customer, I can help her. So my plan was to get her on the line and stop her, save her, and just give her some information. Often I'll just email them a link about romance scams and do the best I can. And I don't know how many people I actually save in the end. But either way, so I speak to the lady eventually calls me. The gentleman that had called me was very obviously a Nigerian or some African accent.
Right.
So I get the lady on the line, and I'm explaining to her it is a scammer. Most of these originate out of Africa. So, and since the gentleman had Nigerian or African accent, that's pretty much a dead giveaway. And she laughed. She said, "Oh, honey, that's an Italian accent, actually." And I my heart sank, and I was like, "Oh, I know." Yeah.
And he's
he's obviously
his
not.
Pronunciation of the city, like he actually.
Oh yeah, phonics.
Yeah.
I said, "What ATM are you trying to use?" And he says, "The one in the phonics."
Instead of Phoenix.
I'm like, "You're obviously not here yourself."
Yeah, right.
He's calling from Nigeria.
Yeah.
But the lady believed that it was an Italian accent, so she didn't know the difference between Italian and African.
Wow, that's crazy. And then one, we were sitting in your kitchen and you took a call, and I was sitting there listening to you, and the lady was trying to buy Bitcoin with cash, and so she thought she should buy Bitcoin Cash.
Yes.
So it's kind of a brand hijack there that whether it's intentional or not, this is a problem.
It definitely is. I mean, the Bitcoin Cash people can say all they want about, whatever their justification is, but in the end, there's real world implications to this. I mean, thankfully, we haven't had any direct incidents of someone purchasing the wrong coin and getting sent and lost into the ether somewhere. And, but I'm most likely going to disable Bitcoin Cash. We've done a test run with it for a while, but that call that you overheard was exactly, she said, so I hit the Bitcoin Cash one, right? And I said, no, you make sure to hit Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and
you're not the only one. Doug runs Vault Logic, Doug Scribner, and he's had the exact same call before. The exact same call that he's had to talk someone into buying the correct coin that they meant to buy. And I mean, is it a big loss if you did drop any? I mean, what percentage on your ATMs is Bitcoin, and how much is Give me the ratio of these.
We're
These
talking like
altcoin.
99-1. I
90
mean, there is just no activity to speak of the altcoins. Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, they're all
Right.
enabled on the ATMs, and we might do one transaction a week on those coins, as opposed to Bitcoin has 30 plus transactions coming in for us a day.
Yeah,
you know.
and so, but Litecoin is probably number 2.
Litecoin's number 2, only because we enabled that 2 years ago, and so it's built up. There's been a few loyal customers that have discovered it, and so they kind of repeat customers.
Do you get like a lot of people badgering you to get their coin on? I mean, I've done it. I've badgered you to try to get Dash on there, but I mean, some of the other coins that people badger you to put them on there, and then when you do put them on there, there's just like no volume, because this is what Doug said with Vault Logic, is that he's put this coin, that coin, and all these other coins on there, and he has quite a few, and they pester the shit out of him to do it, and then once he does it, it's crickets.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, And then when I tell people, hey, we've added this coin, oh, that's awesome news, that's great news, and then like you said, cricket.
Yeah, you got like one user that's faithful user, and because he's getting paid in Bitcoin Cash, and so that's he uses your. So that'd be the one machine.
I'm gonna leave that one machine.
You're gonna leave that one machine
because he always uses it. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna turn it off everywhere. The one that people pester me the most out is, when are you gonna get Ripple? Which I always laugh at, because I have company shirts that say says Phoenix Crypto, selling everything but Ripple. And people ask me, when are you gonna get our XRP or Ripple on the ATMs? And I said, never. I got into Bitcoin to obsolete, to go around the banks,
not use the
Ripple,
bank coin.
not use the bank coin.
What about Stellar? No, I mean, let's say that Stellar had usage.
Yeah. No, I think you're gonna find the same thing with all the coins. It's just there's very, very little volume.
So Bitcoin, for you say that Bitcoin is a utility. People are using it as a utility, and that's why they're going to your machines.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk real about ATM prices. The operator, we get badgered a lot over the high rates and things like that. But with the high rates, I think a lot of people, and to be fair, on Reddit a lot, you'll often see non-operators join conversations when people are bashing ATM operators over the rates and say, hey, if it's so easy, why don't you go start one of your own, start a company of your own. But there's just a lot of factors a lot of people don't take into account. One of the main ones is, I think, when people think that we're making money hand over fist, they're thinking we're buying all our supply at spot price. So if we're charging whatever it is, 10+%, that's just free cash flow. Well, I have supply problems all the time, and I rarely am able to buy Bitcoin at spot price. I'm paying above spot.
Because of the interruption by banks. So you keep getting your bank shut down, and so you can't just put money in a bank account and go to the exchange to buy the Bitcoin at spot. You have to buy it from somebody, and then you also have to buy a plane ticket to get to this place.
Yes.
So that's another expense, and then you're paying the location a fee.
Location gets a fee.
Yeah, and then you have your tech guy. How much does your tech guy bring?
Well, there's a lot of overhead. I mean, we're happy where we're at financially and everything, so I'm not gonna speak negatively on the overhead, but just make that point, that to be aware of it, that a lot of people at here, we're at Coin Agenda here. I get approached quite frequently. Hey, should I think I want to get an ATM. I'd like to deploy one,
I had one I traveled around with in my motorhome, but it was just for like a display.
And I'm always the one saying, be careful what you're getting into. I think I got into Bitcoin, early enough where it was just like, I tackled one problem at a time, just as a local trader before ATMs even came around and were on the scene. And I fell into it gradually over time. But if I wanted to start at square one right now and build an ATM network, I don't know if I'd have the energy to jump through all the hoops and do everything. Mine came together slowly over time.
And with partnerships, even managing. I know you were even flying to Austin, managing the abandoned machines in Austin for a while.
Yeah, there was a handful there that had gone kind of unattended for a little while.
Right. So, man. So, I guess we could go back to the beginning a little bit, and what brought you into this, and what is it just the libertarian idea? What brought you to this?
No, money, man. That's what brought me. And I say
Yeah.
that. I mean, I say that just in all honesty, because the fact is,
Me too.
I saw it as an opportunity. I'm like, hey, what kind of I had no political leanings before crypto.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now I'm, very, hardcore libertarian anarchist.
Yeah.
Voluntarist is actually the term I prefer the most.
Well, let's use Ernie's description. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Yeah. No, as I started learning more about it, this is the common story. Learning more about the banking system, the Federal Reserve, and got woke, so to speak. And
but it's federal.
I hate that term.
It's federal.
I hate that term. Got woke.
Got woke.
But yeah.
Got woke. Got joke.
Yeah. No, and then just started seeing the way that things were working, and particularly from a financial aspect, and Bitcoin. And so now my priorities have shifted. Obviously, money drives our society. Like, there's nobody who doesn't want to make more money.
Right.
But that's become a secondary priority for me to really I just want to help this ecosystem grow, so that Bitcoin and its potential can be fully achieved to help, bring the poorest out of their horrible situations, and to just, bring some good to the world, and bring financial inclusion to people that haven't had financial.
And I mentioned, when somebody interviewed us earlier asking about why we're doing what we do, and I'd mentioned what Adam B. Levine was doing from the Let's Talk Bitcoin network, and that's pretty amazing that he was able to employ these people in Venezuela, and it gave them enough money to get the hell out of Venezuela. Although he lost his employee, but man, that's got to be a great feeling to be able to get that out.
I love to see that. Sometimes it's tough for us to get a real good hold of a handle on what all of our customers are using their Bitcoin for. And in the spirit of Bitcoin, we I don't necessarily always want to know or ask. It's just like it's just private money. But of course, obviously, if we want to serve the customers better, we want to get an idea, not on what each individual user is doing, but as a whole, kind of what. And I love it. It makes me happy that, far as we can tell, most of the people using the ATMs is for a real world use case. They're purchasing it to solve a need, to their utility. Like, I don't think we're paying, think we have many investors as our clients. I mean, let's be real. No investor is going to be paying 15%,
right,
to acquire their coins. They'll get it through an exchange. But, people that come to us, and we get thanked all the time just for, we're providing a service to get convenient, fast coins.
Yeah. The radio show that we were doing in Phoenix on the Conservative Radio Network, some of the people a lot of the people I think that were coming out to meet us at the different events were older people, like, retirement, over 50. Some of them were younger, but it seemed like the majority of the people that we were drawing out were older.
That's a demographic that surprised me. But I know, those are also the people that tend to kind of like read newsletters, and they're from their financial, I know from people have come from Peter Schiff's newsletters and from Jeff Berwick's newsletters. It's where they first, and then they started hearing about this thing, Bitcoin. And well, a lot of them, they, after 2008, they're looking, and the stock market's been performing really well. Some are those people that are reaching retirement age right now. They're looking at their nice big nest egg, and they're thinking, hey, I'm too old to survive another 2008, another recession, or even, if it could be even worse. And so they're looking for ways to park or move their money into something that will at least preserve or hedge some of that value. So it is some of the older people looking to pivot or move some of their money out of their 401ks. That's our other shirt. Phoenix Crypto shirt says, still counting on that 401k. That's cute.
That is cute. So in your journey through all of this Bitcoin thing, what or who has been like the most inspiring thing for you as far as this whole
It's got to
journey.
be Danny Sessom.
What? No.
What? And he's out there doing the thing. He's getting his hands dirty. He's in the water. He's pulling people. He's a superhero pulling people out of the water in the Houston floods. And no, definitely you. I've found a lot of kind of you brought a lot of like drive.
Yeah.
I see the drive that you have. I mean, I'm meticulous and I'm kind of OCD about stuff that.
Yeah.
But your drive is more of in a let's get shit done kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but influencers. I mean, just obviously on Andreas was the that's pretty much everyone's introduction.
Yeah. The other 6 billion or whatever. That's a pretty profound thing there.
Morpheus too.
Yeah.
Morpheus, to be honest, because even though we were both doing the same thing in Phoenix, there was such a marked difference in our personalities. I'm fairly laid back. I am not. Yeah. I'm not what you call like the ultimate salesman. Like I like to evangelize and I come to the conferences obviously and I network. Yeah. But Morpheus, man, this guy, would you sit down with him? I had dinner with him one time and probably more than one time, and he would not leave or he would tell the waiter, you're not getting a tip at all unless you download a Bitcoin wallet right now so I can tip you in Bitcoin. And this poor server now, this poor server is just like, man, man, we're busy. Can you give me a tip or whatever? And Morpheus would be like, no, pull out your wallet. It'll take 5 seconds, And I'm like,
Doug Scribner is like that too.
Oh, it's amazing. Morpheus, and that's what anyone that knows Morpheus knows this is, he is everywhere you go. It's just everything. Every conversation is always going to start or end with Bitcoin with him.
Right.
And he's one of the great, he's motivated me a lot. And I've looked up to him from the beginning as well.
What's the weirdest, like, I don't know, contact or just like stupid idea that somebody tried to pull on you?
Well, after it was before Morpheus got arrested, but it was after Mitchell Espinosa, I think it was, out of Florida. He was one of the early guys who got arrested for it, and it was because same deal. They set him up, and the Fed said, "Hey, this money's coming from illegal origin source," and so I was like hyper vigilant at that point. I'm like, if anybody, that case was the one that drew the line. We know if anybody says anything sketchy, we have to turn down the deal and walk away. Well, I met a guy who's junkie, for be real. Right. And he was just buying $100 worth. And we're making conversation. And, he said he mentions that he's got to buy some medication online through online dark web place. And I was like, man, I know you're not a cop. You're definitely not a cop.
Right.
You look like you haven't eaten in 5 days. And I said, but now I got to turn down the deal just because you mentioned that. It's over $100. And they're not going to set up a sting on you for only $100, but it was.
I mean, I used to do it there at Brave New Books. We had an ATM there and people would come in and use the ATM and it was managed poorly. So it was always out of either Bitcoin or money. And I'd be in the next room, so they'd send them in there to me, and then I would sell them Bitcoin. And one time it was like somebody trying to post something on the back page. So it was probably a hooker, and she was from Canada. And it may have been a dude, I'm not sure. And that was kind of weird. So, but they were just, that's not, I don't think that was illegal, posting an ad. So if I'm selling you Bitcoin just to post an ad, I don't see that's illegal. But there were some like black dudes that came in there, and clearly they were looking for something. And I was just joking with them. They didn't tell me what they were going to do with it, but I was joking with them like, I'm not going to sell you this unless you're committing a fucking crime with it, man. And it was just a joke. But I don't know what they did. I don't know what they did with it. But after hearing, what happened to Morpheus, I'm like, God damn, man, I'm lucky that guy wasn't a cop, or I'd be fucked.
And it was really sad, the razor thin line between entrapment versus and what his defense was allowed to display. I sat through most of that trial, and one of the takeaways I had was just a head scratcher. Was just like one of the things that the prosecution had to prove or show was that he knowingly did the trade, knowing the drugs came from, that the money came from drug sales, came from illicit reason. So in the nuances of the law, the way the prosecution presented and the way the judge instructed everyone, basically I looked at it as if had he just if they said, hey, we're drug dealers, which first of all, who says they're a drug dealer? Like we are big heroin dealer.
Hi, I am heroin dealer.
I am big important heroin. They say we're Russian. I am Russian heroin dealer. It's like, first of all, come on. But no, literally had Morpheus or anyone in that scenario basically just said, oh, sure you are. I'm sure you are. Good. That's a good joke. Good one, buddy.
Yeah.
That would actually have been a huge factor, and he may have actually been able to use a defense. It's like, dude, I didn't believe, and that recording, because all of their interactions with Morpheus were recorded. Yeah. And had you said something, or anyone in that situation say that would almost absolve you. The state would fail to be able to show that you knowingly, because you just expressed that you did not believe them when they said they were heroin dealers.
We coming into this, we mentioned, coming into this, we mentioned that they were infiltrating. Tell me about how they were infiltrating the meetups. So if you give people an idea of what to look for.
Well, before we get into that, I would say that of the last story said, this should not be taken as advice on how to react if someone tells you their drugs came from, or I'm sorry, the money came from illegal sources. Just reject the transaction and walk away. Don't even mess with it. So disclaimer there on that.
Yeah, right.
No, we played the game Spot the Fed, at every week or every month, every meetup. It's like, okay, who's the new guy?
Right.
Who's the guy that shows up first and stays the latest that we all don't know?
Well, that would have been me most of the time.
On some of them.
Yeah.
Because when I introduced you, I had to pull everybody aside separately and be like, he's cool, dude. He's okay. He's not. He's with me.
When I came to your meeting.
He's with me. He's not the Fed. Yeah. So that's what we do. Whenever I bring, or when most people bring someone new, they'll usually kind of pull the core group of us aside. He's cool. He's all right. He's with me. Because we know that they have infiltrated and that they were coming to our meetups and approaching some of us separately, just probing, asking questions here and there. They didn't really drop the bombshells for the, Morpheus, the eventual one. They arrested him. It was a $100,000 trade. So they don't start out there. They start small and they build up. But they were just they would do probing questions, and they would just. So we know that they were at our meetups.
What are some of the key things that someone should look for of people coming to? Obviously, the right thing would be to never put yourself in the position to take on that deal. But should it happen, how do you spot these people to root them out?
No, you just assume everyone is, and you behave accordingly. I mean, that's kind of how I handle. If I don't know, then you are a Fed.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep. Like if you don't give them what they want, like what's to stop them from fabricating it? It's not like it's never happened before.
The rules that, or I should say the lack of rules that they have to follow when they're setting someone up. So they can lie. Like there's no any kind of restrictions in place.
It's not even like the ones that you really would worry about, like the guy that you said that's not a cop. That's probably actually was a cop, because he probably got arrested the week before, and he's paying his way out of his debt by setting you up.
Oh, he could be informant. That's that's always very possible.
That's definitely going to be the tool that they would use, like especially if he hasn't eaten for a week. Like, oh man, this guy's a perfect cover, and we're going to take his kids away from him because he's been doing meth. All right, well, let's send him in and get him to do this. And then it happens all the time. And those guys are like above the law. Those confidential informants, they have more power than the fucking actual cops do, man. They get away with some shit.
Well, I'm a voluntarist. I'm a privacy advocate. So I'm all about, like, don't ask, don't tell. I don't ask my customers, hey, what are you using your Bitcoin for?
I don't care if you're in the Army and you're gay, right?
I don't care, and I don't want to know. But the reality is, if they do volunteer information, that is no bueno. So anything sketchy or anything referring to any crime, that's the end of the deal. Just got to walk away.
I mean, like, what's to stop them from making some new rule that if you don't report that, you're just as culpable for not telling?
Absolutely nothing. All you got to do is put it on paper and create the illusion that people voted for it, and then pass a law.
Yeah, it's probably coming along with the facial recognition and all this other garbage, damn chemtrails and 5Gs and flat Earth,
flat moons.
Flat moon. Is there a flat
It
moon
is a flat
theory
moon.
now?
I saw the turtle that it's on.
Yeah.
I caught it at the right angle with my telescope, and I saw the turtle it's on.
Saw the turtle. Yeah, 5G, boy. I don't know about that one. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not, but it seems like when I see the people I see like on Facebook or something that are just like jumping up and down about 5G, they're like irrational and unhinged. So it's kind of hard for me to believe, like, all that good shit that you said a minute ago about the Fed. Well, when you started talking about flat Earth and 5G, now you lost me. Now all the good shit you said is unfucking believable. And yeah, Jesus Christ. Well, Doug is always fun to talk to, and if you're in Phoenix, you definitely need to reach out to Phoenix Crypto and get your resources there. And we'll be talking also with Doug Scribner about his machines and his experience with Bitcoin being the 99%. Bitcoin is the dominant. Like, people are really, let's be honest, what are you doing with altcoins? You're buying more Bitcoin with them. Really? I mean, is that what?
And then, I mean, there's so many convenient services like Changely. I don't know where Shapeshift is at with their requiring an account and identity. I might have heard something where I know they were doing KYC.
Yeah.
I don't know the latest, but I do know Changely, at least as of recent. I've used it recently, and they still don't require any kind of. So so long as you're not trying to move $5,000 and $10,000, I think up to a couple $1,000s, you can basically shift any coin to another. That's built right into the Coinomi wallet. That's always really convenient.
The Edge wallet as well.
So it's like Bitcoin's the gateway to everything. Like, even if people call me and like, hey, will you sell me Monero? Will you sell me all these things? And usually I tell them, if you're only buying a couple hundred or something, like, let me just sell you Bitcoin. That's easiest for me to pull out, readily available.
Yeah.
I don't have to go pull it from my exchange.
You might accidentally make some money
and
off of it and end up with more Monero.
And I'll tell them I'll help you shapeshift it or Changely, move it over to whatever crypto you want. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Doug.
Yep.
And stay tuned for the rest of this. I'm probably going to just compile all these together into one episode, even the Morpheus one. I think we'll put it all together to kind of paint the story.
Sounds great.
All
Thanks a lot, Danny.
Thanks.